What's up everyone? The latest Power of Veto results are here. Plus, is a Big Brother legend about to be backdoored? We've got so much to talk about, so welcome to your live feed update. Right before we get started, if you are new around here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I'm here every single day breaking down everything Big Brother so you can stay up to date with everything that's going on inside that house. I'm also covering the challenge and also Bachelor in Paradise, and as the year goes on, there's more coming to TV Talks with Tom, so if you don't want to miss a thing, hit the subscribe button. I'm also going to ask you folks to hit the like button as well. It takes all of 0.2 seconds just to click that little thumbs up down there, and as a smaller content creator, it helps me out more than you even know. And one more thing folks, I do put a lot of time and effort into these videos, so if you feel like supporting me or buying me a coffee, please consider leaving a super thanks or hitting up my PayPal link in the description below. But without further ado, let's get to the update. Time for trivia question of the day now, folks, and the last one, of course, the question was who of all the Big Brother house guests in the US version of Big Brother, because we're not even thinking about the other countries' versions, who has spent the most amount of time in the Big Brother house? If you answered Nicole Franzel, you would be correct. And a kicker if you got that she was in there for 261 days. 6 of those days count as reindeer games, so you can say 255 if you're only counting her first 3 seasons or her actual Big Brother seasons. But yes, 6 days there gets kick over to 261, but still with 255, she is still far in the lead as the house guest who spent the most time in the Big Brother house. And today's trivia question is, which season has had the most jury members on the cast? If you can tell me which season it was and how many jury members, you get an extra point for that, folks. Good luck and don't cheat. Alright gang, I've got a beefy update for you today. It's a little bit later in the day, a little bit the same as yesterday, but I'm enjoying these late night things. It's almost like, you know, late night with Tom, that kind of thing. I'm not exactly David Letterman, but I'm going to try. Folks, I'll tell you what. These nominations, alright, they had me spinning before we actually got there because, you know, the night we talked yesterday about how nominations came around. Ava, Mickey, Kelly hit the block. We talked about that yesterday with the main target being Mickey, but I also did emphasize something yesterday. I said Mickey is the target right now. And let me tell you folks, right now was yesterday. I am already seeing a flurry of different ideas from these house guests. To me, the best way I can say this is that Vince goes where the house goes, or goes where the conversation goes, because it's been like whiplash, these live feeds over the past 24 hours. He talks to one person and then it's this plan. He talks to another person, it's this plan. Then he talks to a third person, then there's a third plan. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, whiplash. My neck's hurting. I need to call a lawyer. It wouldn't be Ashley though, because I don't think she would win the case. I want to put some credit onto Will's name this week. I have loved this guy since week 1. I have definitely had some worries when he was considering leaving and quitting in week 2, I believe it was. But he has consistently remained the agony aunt of the house. And that is a great position to be in. You know, it doesn't sound like a compliment, but it really is. Because everybody goes to Will with their problems. He is the guy that they vent to. He's the guy who's getting all the information and probably understands the relationships between all these people more than most in this house. Because he has one person from one side come to him and go, I can't stand this person, yada, yada, yada. They said this, they said that. Then all of a sudden, Will gets the other side of the story. And then all of a sudden, Will's got the jigsaw pieces to put the whole puzzle together. Whereas some people only have one side of it, you know, or they think they've got the whole thing, Keanu, but they don't. There's a puzzle piece missing. And yeah, that's how it goes with these house guests. But Will is somebody who is being fed from all angles. And with Will, I just want to give massive credit to the fact that he really campaigned hard to take Rachel, or to make sure Rachel didn't go up. Is it a blunder? Yeah, it is, because, I mean, it's Rachel Riley, for goodness sake. But at the same time, I feel like that is credit to Will's game, how he was able to push Vince and say, no, you're not going to put Rachel up. The person who nominated Vince last week, not just the person, but may we remind everyone, it's Rachel Riley. She's a Big Brother legend. So the fact that Will was able to talk Vince down off that ledge, that's pretty impressive and goes to show the weight of Will's social game and his voice in this house, because he says something and people listen. And that's exactly what you want to be in the Big Brother house. When you talk, you want people to take on board what you say, because if you become a person who people's, if it's a Kelly, she says something, people take it with a grain of salt. If Ashley says something, it's not taken as seriously as Will, because Ashley bounces from room to room and sucking up to whoever's in each one. If you're talking about Mickey, she's another one there. Her negativity is so freaking constant that I think people are just sick of it. But I'll tell you who people aren't sick of. Will. Now, while Keanu is back and forth like somebody at a put your keys in the ball party, and I don't speak from experience, so don't get too excited, you dirty buggers. He is continually swinging, saying, I got your back, Rachel, and then he throws Rachel under the bus. And it's going to come a point where Rachel's going to realise this guy isn't for real. She already kind of doesn't trust him because of the tumultuous relationship they've had in this house so far. But I am just absolutely flabbergasted at how he really pushed so hard for Rachel, and then he went right back to Rachel, because he wanted Rachel on the block so bad, more than anyone, more than Vince. And then he comes back and he says, Rachel, I made sure Vince didn't put you on. Rachel doesn't buy into that. She doesn't. She sees through it. I think it's tough. She relies on Keanu to an extent because she doesn't have many allies or legitimate allies left in that house. But the truth of the matter is, I feel like Keanu needs Rachel if he wants to make it further. He can cut her eventually. But right now, he needs that support. He needs that backup. He went to Vince pushing so hard, and Vince showed he doesn't value Keanu's opinion by completely overlooking. He had 3 opportunities to throw up on the block. Even Vince wanted it in his heart. But Keanu pleaded his heart out, and Vince took no notice of it. And I hope that would be alarm bells for Keanu, but it's not. He kind of goes in the opposite direction of what he should be doing. And it's one of those things where, you're watching Rachel actually help him out. And then he's like, no, I don't want that. And then you watch Keanu completely ignore every single plead and word that he says. And then he's like, yes, I'm going to stick with Vince. The man's got it backwards, but boy, is it entertaining to watch. In the midst of all of yesterday's chaos, a final 3 was formed. I feel like this was kind of a shoe-in already because they've all been working together in the Venn diagram of alliances. But Rachel, Ashley and Will came together and officially solidified their final 3. Now, I'm looking at this right now, and do you know how we do scenarios on Wednesday? I'm going to do a little scenarios for this final 3. Okay, so the first one. Ashley, I'm gonna take out Rachel out of the equation first, because of course it's another big if a winner gets to the final 2. So first of all, Will and Ashley. I feel like Will cleans up. I think the jury goes his way easy, without a doubt. Ashley hasn't really made enough moves this season to. Again, we're halfway through the game, but if we were voting right now, I'm looking at Ashley and I'm thinking she's buzzed around from room to room. People are going to kind of view that as somebody who. Was wishy-washy, I think, at least if you compare it to Will. And then you've got Will, who everybody goes to, everybody talks about. Everybody who's been evicted is like, go Will. Still now. That's testament to Will's social game. So I think Will cleans up, hands down. Then we ask ourselves the Rachel and Ashley question. I think Rachel stands a better shot at beating Ashley than she does Will. I'll put it that way. Again, Rachel, she's a powerhouse, but again, I feel like there is a little bit of dissent in this cast from the Rachel Riley, love eyes. And the same way that, the BB19 cast was obsessed with Paul. But again, Paul got to the end and burned too many bridges. And I feel like Rachel hasn't burned as many bridges as Paul because she's more transparent in her gameplay and how she puts herself out and what her opinions are. So therefore, that gives her a kicker over Paul there, I guess, when we compare those two. But I think with Rachel in this cast, she makes a lot of these younger house guests uncomfortable in how direct she is. And I have no issue with that at all. But this modern style of play, Rachel is the opposite of that. And I think that makes a lot of people scared of her. In one of the episodes last week, even Lauren was in the DR in one of her confessionals. She said, Rachel scares me, You don't want people scared of you in this game. You want people to, okay, they might be fearful of you, but they should respect you. And I do think Lauren does have some respect for Rachel. She's a super fan and she's got, love for Janelle. She's got love for Rachel. But when you're in this game, is Lauren going to vote for Vince, or is she going to vote for Rachel? Is she going to vote for Ashley? These people she's actually made connections with will make a difference. And I do feel like, people are scared of Rachel. So if she does get to the final 2, again, I'm not putting it past these people to vote the other person, even though a winner got to final 2 again, which is beyond impressive. So I do think Rachel would beat Ashley. I say with a twitch in my face because I'm not 100% there. But then we ask ourselves the third one, which is Rachel and Will. Okay, I'm being honest right now. I think Will would beat Rachel. Yeah, I just said that. I did. Yeah. Wow, I'm just taking a moment to think about that. I think Will would beat Rachel. I really do. He is marvelous on a social level. I think as a live feed updater, I do think Rachel has played a better game so far. But Will's social game can carry him to the end. You know, in a cast again where I talk about these people who are afraid to make moves and afraid to, upset the power. Somebody like Will is a neutral person who gets to the end and everyone goes, I loved Will. Rachel swung at the fences, but Will was great. He had everybody in his pocket. He was getting all the information the entire time. And Rachel, yeah, she made moves, but she was abrasive and they can easily build that case against her destroying her game. In the final two. I do think Rachel has played the best game out of her and Will, but I do think Will would clean the floor again. That man is a danger if he gets to final two, and I don't think these house guests realise it. I'm just watching week by week go by, and he's sitting there, out in the backyard with his shades on the sunbed, looking like the coolest cucumber in the world. He's obviously thinking of his chocolate drop back home, which I can't get enough of. I love it when he brings up that. I think it's so wholesome and cute. He is sitting there, and mentally he's on a beach with a margarita in hand, his chocolate drop in the other, and bills of cash, dollar bills just raining down. And I'm seeing week by week go by, and all of a sudden, Will could be in the final six, the final five, the final four. Oh my God, Will's in the final three. Whoa, I'm going to take Will because, and somebody wins final HOH. I'm going to take Will. He's the old guy. And then the jury rinses that other person, and Will gets commended for his social game. And I think a lot of the time when people have a good social game, it also carries forward in a jury. Like people. And this isn't, I'm not discrediting Will here. I'm not saying that there's any lack of anything, but sometimes jury members, because they are so butthurt by one person, they fixate on the person they liked. And in that case, it would be Will. And then they blow that person's game out of proportion and make it better than it even was. And that can poison a jury or spread a virus or a plague across the jury, whatever you want to call it. That can be a good plague for some, a bad plague for others. And I think that could be the case with Will again. He's a very dangerous person to let get to the final two, but I'd be so happy for him if he did make it. In a new segment we're calling Deluded Moment of the Day, this one doesn't go out to Keanu, it goes out to Mickey. Oh guys, strap yourselves in for this one. We all know that Mickey has a certain level of entitlement, more than the average human being. And she was convinced going in to the veto that if Ava won the power of veto, this is Ava who is another nominee on the block, she thinks that she could have convinced Ava to use the power of veto on Mickey, on her. I'm just going to let that sink in for a second, folks. Old negative Mickey, she's not Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse brings happiness. What's the opposite of Mickey Mouse? I don't know. Mickey, whatever her surname is. She was convinced that she could get the other nominee to use it on her. Like I said, it's the deluded moment of the day. I think all of us are in disbelief, and once again, it's just shown Mickey's level of entitlement. The fact that she actively thinks that she can get one of the other nominees to use the veto on her. Delusion, entitlement, all the above. That's Mickey. That's life. Now we're going to talk about the veto results very, very soon. But first of all, we've got to talk about who was actually picked to play in the competition. Of course, the head of household, Vince, automatically plays, and the three nominees in the form of Ava, Kelly, and Mickey were guaranteed a spot too. But the two players on top of those picked at the veto picking ceremony was Keanu and Will. So, with the big conversation this week of being, is Rachel going to get backdoored? Is that big move going to be made? It really was split down the middle with those two picks. You've got Will, who would go to bat for Rachel, and Keanu, who would betray her in front of the entire cast. But did either of those two win it, or was it one of the nominees, or was it Vince? Let's talk about that. Alright folks, the feeds went down, the veto competition was played, and then eventually the feeds came back. I was on the edge of my seat waiting for this one, folks, and I can tell you the winner of the power of veto this week was Mickey. A massive congratulations to her. That was an amazing win. Presumably, hopefully, going to use it on themselves. I can't deal with another Zach situation where you have a power in your hand and you don't use it. I ain't got time for that. Get out. Don't let the door hit you on your way out. I really hope she does use the power of veto on herself. But again, a massive congratulations. And again, it's going to open up the floodgates of a potential backdoor. I don't really see a scenario in which she doesn't use the power of veto on herself, because that would be crazy. And I don't think any of these nominees are as crazy as Vince. But, you know, Kelly. But yeah, I'm interested now to see where this is going to go, because I don't think Vince is too worried about this. He kind of has his options more open than most of the weeks so far this season in terms of who he's going to send out the door. So with the power of veto removing one of the nominees from the block, you know, it's kind of creating a situation in which he can go, oh, we're actually closer to this Rachel backdoor than we've ever been this season. I'm not wasting this opportunity. I'm taking the shot. And another conversation that we've got to bring up is the fact that this, presumably, again, we're not 100% here, is the last week before the jury begins. So a big question you've got to ask yourself this week is, should Rachel be on the jury or should she be off the jury? That's always a pivotal week as you cross that bridge in Big Brother, because you're asking yourself, is this somebody that I want to decide my fate at the end or be a part of deciding my fate? Or do I just want to send them home? So I think for a lot of these house guests, I think it would be the case if they want to send Rachel home, because she is a loud player, she's an abrasive player, and she can poison a jury if she wants to. And I think at least half of these house guests don't even want to risk that. So I'd say, Rachel fans, over the next few days, be scared. Watch out, that amber warning on your phone has arrived saying Rachel is in danger, and she could definitely be seeing the door this week. But it won't just be a normal door, it will be a back door. Watch out, folks. That is all of your live feed updates for today, folks. I thoroughly hope you all enjoyed it. A bit of late night with Tom. I'm enjoying these later uploads. Let me know, guys, if you're enjoying them. I like to do my uploads at different times of the day, you know. So again, I hope people have been enjoying this late night one the past couple days. But I want to say to everybody, you can reach out to me with a postcard with the address on screen right now, or a package, a pauper, a pirate, a package, a pauper, a king, you know, whatever Frank Sinatra said. You can send it out to me. I appreciate you ever so much, folks. For the folks who sent it so far, can't wait to read those out next week in the mail video that's coming. And if you send something after I film that, do not worry, because we're going to do another mail video towards the back end of the season. So the first half of the mail we'll do in this video for the first half of the season, and then the next half we'll do at the back end. So don't worry, I'm going to receive it either way, and I would love to hear from you folks. Would love to get one from every single state, all these different pockets of the country where people are sending them from. And I've had ones from outside the country as well that I can't wait to read out, and it's warming my heart. So if you've thought about sending something in, just do it. Pull the trigger, because I would love to hear from you, and I'll talk about it on a video very, very soon. But I've got a few super thanks before we close things out, and the first person is Jess is a mess. Again, I love that name so much. Thank you as always, Jess. And Jess says, that's what all the people say. I want to give a super thanks to say that your That's Life references are noticed and appreciated, and also to say it's the best Sinatra song in my humble opinion. Well, your humble opinion is fantastic. I too love that song. I love Sinatra. Strangers in the Night is probably my personal favourite. That one steals my heart every single time I hear it. Chills, goosebumps. The man, the myth, the legend, Frank Sinatra, man. It warms my heart to know that there's other Sinatra fans in here. He is my favourite artist. I love him so much. I'm a fan of the oldies. I loved Kenny Rogers growing up. That was also another one of my favourites. But Frank's my favourite. I love that guy so much. I love everything he puts into his music. The charm, the heart, the soul, how it rips your heart apart but also mends it at the same time. It's a beautiful thing. And Frank Sinatra forever. I need a hoodie or a shirt with Frank Sinatra. Keep Frank Sinatra alive, because that man, I just love him so much. And his music for me will live on forever. So when I'm a grandpa one day, I'd love to share that music with my grandkids or my great grandkids, if I'm fortunate enough to make it to that age. And he's just marvelous, and I'm so glad there's another Sinatra fan there. Thank you so much, Jess. I appreciate you. Have an amazing day, my love. And Frank Sinatra forever. Let's go. Next up, we've got the wonderful Kathleen Branham. Kathleen says, another great update, Tom. Even though I missed Sam's scenarios, I was pleasantly surprised with your sister-in-law's breakdown. She'll love to hear that. She did a fantastic job. Here's to Rachel winning the veto. Yeah, I don't think you're the only one who wanted Rachel to win the veto, but of course she wasn't even picked. That's a rough one. And I'm sorry, Kathleen. That must have been tough for you to hear today. But thank you so much for your super thanks. I appreciate it ever so much. And Jade did a great job. Again, like I said, she'll love to hear that. And Sam will be back, of course, next week for the Wednesday scenarios. Thank you so much, Kathleen. Next up, we've got the wonderful Angela G, who says, thanks. Thank you, Angela G, always supporting me on this channel. You're a very sweet lady. I appreciate you ever so much, my love. Sending you a big hug. Thank you, Angela. Next up, we've got the wonderful Audra Hagen. Thank you so much, Audra. I love your name. Audra's such a lovely name. And Audra says, I think you're awesome with a heart. Well, I'm sending a heart right back at you. Thank you so much, Audra. That's very, very sweet. I think you're awesome. That was a very sweet thing to do. So thank you so much, Audra. Have an amazing one, my love. Second to last, we've got David Cushmore. I'm going to throw David's up on screen right now because it's pretty long. So if you want to check David's out, click the pause button now. Thank you so much, David. I appreciate you. Minneapolis. To me, I want to see every pocket of this country. Since I've been a little boy, I've been fascinated by all the different states and the differences of food and culture and just everything in every single state. I think is how it's a melting pot of so many people from so many different cultures. It's why I love New York so much, because you walk around a block and it's a completely different scene to what it was in the last one. And to me, I just think that's so beautiful and something that should be encouraged so much. But yeah, Minneapolis, of course, definitely on the list at some point. And I will get myself some Starbucks and M&Ms. I appreciate that ever so much, David. And you're right, Kat, I hope now, is going to spread her wings and be able to play her own game without Riley sinking her down. Did I say sinking? Yeah, I did, because I meant it. I'm looking forward to seeing what Kat can do now, and I hope she's doing good. I hope she's happy, and I hope she's going to be able to soar within the next few weeks and fly in this Big Brother game. Thank you so much, David. And the last one of the day, last but certainly not least, is Connie C, the wonderful Connie C. Always a lovely supporter on this channel. I appreciate you, Connie. And Connie says, great update, Tom. So glad. And then there's just a bunch of asterisks and the @ and the hashtags. I bet y'all can read through the thing there that Riley is gone. I've heard enough of his profanity. That's exactly what those exclamation marks and asterisks were, to last me through next season. You and me both, Connie. I'm glad to see the back of Riley. Was never a fan of him. And like I said, I want to see Kat soar, and I hope she can do that. Thank you so much, Connie. I appreciate you ever so much, my love. Sending you a big hug. But that's all we've got time for today, folks. I thoroughly hope you all enjoyed watching. I hope that you're all staying safe, staying positive, and staying healthy out there. And remember to be kind to one another. But in the meantime, please don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, do all of that wonderful stuff. But until your next live feed update, I've been your host, Tom Vasey. Good night.